The first time I saw Mitchell Carter pull into the driveway without Claire, I didn't think much of it. It was late August, and the sun had already begun its slow retreat, casting long shadows over the quiet cul-de-sac. I was standing by my front porch, watering the dying summer marigolds, when I heard the familiar hum of the black Subaru that belonged to my neighbors. Normally, Claire would step out first, waving politely and offering a comment about the weather or her newest book club pick. But that evening, Mitchell stepped out alone. His face looked pale, eyes sunken, his shoulders heavy as though he carried an invisible burden. I paused, watching him quietly as he stood beside his car for a moment too long, staring at the front door of his house like it was a locked vault. My name is Emily Warren. I'm 38, single, and I've lived in this neighborhood for almost 10 years. Claire and Mitchell moved in 3 years ago and immediately became part of the rhythm of the street. Claire was the kind of woman who hosted weekend brunches, exchanged thoughtful holiday cards, and brought soup when you were sick. Mitchell was more reserved but always friendly, a quiet strength beside Claire's vibrance. I had grown fond of both of them in different ways. We were never best friends, but there was a warm familiarity between us, something I cherished in a world that often felt distant. That night, something gnawed at me. Claire hadn't been around in over a week. I told myself she might be visiting family or on a work trip, but that didn't sit right. Claire was the kind of person who left notes, told you where she was going, made sure her dog had a sitter. It wasn't like her to vanish. The next morning, I saw Mitchell walking out to get the mail, dressed in wrinkled clothes and looking like he hadn't slept. On impulse, I texted him, "Hey Mitch, everything okay? Haven't seen Claire in a while." No response. That was unusual. By mid-afternoon, I heard a knock at the door. When I opened it, there he stood, Mitchell, looking like a ghost of the man I used to know. His blue eyes were rimmed red, and his jaw was tense. "Hi, Emily," he said, voice hoarse. "Can I come in for a second?" I stepped aside and led him into the kitchen. He sat at the table, and I poured him a glass of water. He drank it in silence, his hand trembling slightly. "She left," he said finally, staring at the table.
"Claire."
"She's gone." I sat across from him, trying to mask my shock.
"Gone?"
"What do you mean?" "She packed a bag and left a note. Said she needed time.
Space.
Said she couldn't keep pretending things were okay." My heart sank. I had seen them argue a few times, small disagreements in the driveway or whispers exchanged at neighborhood events, but nothing that screamed trouble. Then again, some of the deepest wounds are hidden behind smiles. "I'm so sorry, Mitchell," I said softly. "I had no idea." He laughed bitterly, a hollow sound. "Neither did I." She said I was distant, too consumed with work, that she felt invisible. I didn't see it, I didn't see her slipping away. I reached out, placing my hand over his. "That's not all on you. Sometimes people keep things in for too long." He looked at her hands, then back at me. "I didn't know who else to talk to. You were always there. For both of us." His eyes held mine, and for a moment, I saw something flicker, an emotion I couldn't quite name. I pulled my hand back gently and offered a small smile. "I'm here. If you ever need to talk. That's what neighbors are for." After that day, Mitchell began stopping by more often. At first, it was under the guise of returning things Claire had borrowed or asking for help with his dog, Max. Then it became coffee on my porch or late evening chats while the sun dipped below the rooftops. We talked about everything and nothing. Books, the neighborhood, Claire's sudden absence. He opened up slowly, revealing pieces of himself that I hadn't seen before. His sadness was palpable, but so was his need for connection. One evening, he brought over a bottle of wine. It was a Friday night, and I had no plans beyond leftover pizza and a rerun of an old drama series. We sat on the couch, sipping slowly. The air was thick with unspoken words. "She used to sit like this with me," he said, looking around my living room. "Only, we were already miles apart by then."
I didn't know what to say,
so I listened. "She stopped holding my hand," he continued. "Stopped laughing at my jokes. I thought it was just a phase."
People drift sometimes, right?
But then she started packing her heart up, taking pieces of it with her. I nodded slowly. Sometimes we don't notice until the suitcase is full. He looked at me, his eyes searching mine. You've always been easy to talk to, you get it. I shifted in my seat, a quiet discomfort curling in my stomach. I'm just trying to be a friend. He leaned in just slightly. Maybe I need more than a friend right now. I froze. The words hung in the air like a thundercloud. I could feel the tension crackling between us. He wasn't being forward exactly, but there was something behind his eyes that scared me, a longing, a vulnerability that made me ache and recoil all at once. Mitchell, I said gently, I care about you, but you're hurting. You need time to heal. He pulled back, nodding slowly. You're right.
I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. You didn't, I said quickly. I just don't want to blur lines. Not when you're still so raw. I understand, he whispered. It's just, I miss feeling something. Anything. That night, after he left, I sat in silence for a long time. My hands shook as I washed the wine glasses. I couldn't shake the way he had looked at me, as though I was the only person holding him together. And that terrified me. The following week, I barely saw him. His house stayed dark. Max barked less. He didn't return my texts. Then one afternoon, a letter arrived in my mailbox. No return address. But I knew that handwriting. Emily, I'm sorry for the way I left. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, least of all you. I know Mitchell's been leaning on you, and I know that's a heavy thing to carry. I didn't leave because of you. I left because I was losing myself. And maybe, deep down, I knew he'd come to you when I was gone. Take care of yourself first.
Please.
You matter more than you think.
Claire.
I read the letter 3 times. Each word etched deeper into my chest. She knew. Somehow, she knew what had unfolded in the wake of her departure. I didn't know how she knew, or why she chose to reach out to me, but her words settled over me like a blanket of truth. That night, I walked over to Mitchell's house. I knocked, and when he opened the door, he looked surprised to see me. Hey, I said softly. Can I come in? He nodded, stepping aside. I handed him the letter. Claire sent this.
To me.
He read it silently, his jaw tightening. She always saw more than I gave her credit for, he murmured. I replied. He looked at me, his expression unreadable. I never meant to put you in the middle. And me? I learned that love can come in many forms. Sometimes it's in the kindness of a neighbor. Sometimes it's in the courage to say no. And sometimes it's in the letting go. What Mitchell wanted that night, what he nearly asked of me, left me shaking. Not because I was afraid of him, but because I was afraid of how easily I could have said yes. And that's what makes love complicated. It isn't always about falling in. Sometimes it's about standing tall and walking away.